Hello and welcome to another Game Nexus arcade video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Tekken 3 one more time, but this time I'm actually going to be playing as my favorite character, Yoshimitsu, which, if you had seen my original arcade video 5 years ago, that's the character I played at, but I figured might as well do a capture version of the footage so you can kind of see the footage a little bit better, as opposed to my original video from back in the day when I just had the camera pointing at the screen. And of course, if you had seen my Ling Xiaoyu gameplay and my Jin Kazama gameplay released before this, this is the third video I'm releasing that's actually captured of Tekken 3. Because as I said in the last video I made of this game, it gives you a chance to see more of the characters and more of the stages, like, nicely captured with everything looking so great. Because it's really good to be able to, like, direct capture these arcade games without having to use, like, an emulator or film the screen or anything. And they just end up looking a lot better.
Round one.
And I know I mentioned it in every arcade video that I ever do, but Hwoarang here is the actual character who inspired the character in Tekken 6 called Bob, because American players could not say the name Hwoarang, so everyone just ended up calling him Bob. So what did Namco end up doing? They made a American character and they called him Bob. And the funny thing is, he was actually really fat, and he still had like a lot of crazy moves and combos that he could pull off despite his large size.
Round one. Fight.
And now Yoshimitsu is just one of those characters that, like, when I first started playing Tekken, I just ended up, like, gravitating toward him since he's just such a cool looking character, and as you'll see in the various gameplay I've done of Yoshimitsu, he just has so many great moves that he can easily pull off without any problems. And that's why I just always enjoyed playing as Yoshimitsu, because he's a really good character. And of course, eventually he would be brought into the Soul Calibur franchise. And I remember when I first saw Yoshimitsu in Tekken, and I was like, it's so weird that he's a character holding a sword, and for the most part, he's holding the sword and he's just punching people with his sword hand and not using the sword. But of course, when it came to Soul Calibur 2, which was, and actually, yeah, it was actually the first Soul Calibur game.
Round one. Fight.
No, actually, I believe it was Soul Calibur 2 that first brought Yoshimitsu in the fold, and then later games involved him as well. So in those games, as opposed to this one, he ended up being able to do a lot more moves with his sword than he ever could do in the Tekken games, because it would just be strange if, like, there's this character where everyone's punching everybody, and Yoshimitsu could just whip a sword out and just, like, slice everybody up. And instead of using, like, his beam katana like he had in these games, he actually had, like, a regular Yoshimitsu self-named katana that he could actually use as a real weapon. Whereas in these games, he had more of like a beam katana or something different in some of the later Tekken games. And the funny thing is, like, if you watch this footage, you'll think to yourself, oh, well, I use the sword moves just, like, a bit too much. But the funny thing is, the gameplays where the sword strikes actually hit just happen to be those wins that I ended up getting much easier. Oh, and if you didn't know, another fact that I can actually add in here is that in Tekken 3 actually was emulated on Dreamcast with the Bleedcast emulator, and it was 1 disc per game. And then, of course, as I mentioned at the very end of my Jin Kazama video, it actually was put on the PlayStation Classic on December 3rd of 2018, but unfortunately that product retailed for $99, and most people didn't really like jump into the whole PlayStation Classic thing until it went down to like $20, because you got like only 20 games, and most of them were the slower PAL versions for some reason. And now, some of the history here that I was reading off, and it said, due to the PlayStation's hardware limitations, less video RAM, and lower clock speed, the visual quality was downgraded. The backgrounds were remade into 2D panoramic images.
Round 1. Fight.
The number of polygons used for each character were slightly reduced. Sound effects played at a higher pitch, and the game ran at a lower overall resolution. So, basically, the whole, like, visual style of this game just kind of was downgraded for the PlayStation versions. It kind of needed to be in order to run properly on a plain old PlayStation spec. And as opposed to the other 2 gameplays of this game, you actually see Julia Chang here in her Native American outfit, as opposed to her outfit, which, honestly, when I saw it, it kind of made me think of Claire Redfield from Resident Evil 2. Whereas this is kind of like the Julia Chang that I always picture when I think of the character. Kind of like this outfit for Yoshimitsu is the one I always think of when I think of Yoshimitsu. So it was just kind of weird how those first 2 gameplays, they always picked the alternate outfit. And the funny thing is, I could remember when I played this, I was thinking, oh, well, the sword strike has no chance of winning this late in the game. She's just gonna, like, dodge it or parry it or something.
Round 1. Fight.
And I could remember when I played this, I was thinking, oh no, Law in Stage 8, there is no way I'm going to be able to beat him. And it was another time when I was like, well, I'll just do the sword strike. It's not gonna hit him, but, it's always worth a shot. And the funny thing is, a lot of times when you, like, doubt yourself, you're like, well, this move's not gonna work now, so just try it anyway. And now the cool thing is the, PlayStation version of Tekken 3 featured 2 new hidden characters, which were like a little dinosaur from a manga named Gon, G-O-N, and Dr. Voskanovich, who is involved in a lot of the background story elements. And in Tekken Tag Tournament's Tekken Bowl mode, he's actually seen as a spectator in the gutter, and if you get a gutter bowl, you can actually hit him, and the game will go knockout. And it actually works in the PlayStation 2 and the Tekken Tag Tournament HD versions of Tekken Tag Tournament, which is a nice little Easter egg. If you never tried that, boot up your copy of Tekken Tag and try knocking out Dr. Voskanovich in the alley there. And now I can remember when I first actually played those other two gameplays, I was thinking, well, that Heihachi outfit that he was wearing actually just looked like he was wearing his regular clothes. And this outfit looks more like what I think of when I see Heihachi. And now, I didn't realize I actually left one of my losses in there, but it looks like this was actually my only loss to Heihachi in this gameplay, so instead of going back and editing that out, might as well just leave it in, so you can end up seeing this game just a little bit longer. But what I was saying was, this outfit of Heihachi is just kind of like more of that idea of like what Heihachi looks like. Or another one that I often think of when I think of Heihachi is he has this karate gi that he wears, and it has like a lion or a tiger or something on the back. I think it's a tiger, don't quote me on that, but that's another like basically iconic Heihachi Mishima outfit I think of. And of course, it goes without saying, his Tekken 4 boss costume where he wears, as I like to call it, his sumo diaper is not something I really want to think of too much when I think of Heihachi Mishima. And that's another one of those, oh, he's gonna definitely parry my sword strike, and then he just didn't.
Round 1. Fight.
And now here is our epic final boss of Ogre and True Ogre, and whenever I look at Ogre, I always think of like Tekken Cross Street Fighter. There are actually two bosses, Akuma and Ogre, depending on which side of the Tekken or Street Fighter you choose, and they're like the most powerful characters. But in this game, Ogre isn't really all that bad. He's not like a terribly hard character if you ask me, but he is just like a little bit stronger than a normal character. And apparently I didn't like edit this clip all that well, so you did see a couple of losses from Heihachi Mishima and Ogre. But yeah, as I was saying, I just think of Tekken Tag Tournament, I mean Street Fighter Cross Tekken, because these two characters are like those super bosses, and they're just made a bit stronger than they normally would be. But then again, in their respective franchises, Ogre and Akuma are kind of known as the stronger characters of the franchise. So they're not, it's not too far off to make them those powered up characters in the actual Street Fighter Cross Tekken game. And of course, as of making this video, which at the time this is being recorded, it is at the beginning of January of the year 2020, Tekken Cross Street Fighter, the follow-up game to Street Fighter Cross Tekken, has still not been made, and there's still doubts if that game will ever be made. But of course, it's one of those still being worked on projects that's like kind of become vaporware over the years. But as I was saying in all of these videos, Tekken 3 is an excellent game, be it on the original arcade board like this, or in the Tekken 5 collection arcade history, or on the Sony PlayStation, or even emulated on a PC. It's just a really excellent game to play, with the arcade version having a bit more graphics fidelity, but it all together being a really great playing game, no matter how you're able to play this. Well, this has been another Game Nexus arcade video, and my third Tekken 3 captured video, and I shall see you later. Bye.